Hi all, and welcome to this talk on leading growth-driven design, levers for sustained growth. I'm excited to be sharing this talk as part of the Growth Mentors online summit, and I'm specifically going to be talking about product-led growth. A few of the themes I will cover include growth then and now, the role of human-centered design in solving growth problems, a few of the levers that I have learned in leading teams for growth, more specifically sustained growth as opposed to incremental wins, and we will touch upon future trends that we are going to see with businesses and economies. This talk will not cover details on how to practice growth design, the tools and techniques for experimentation and testing. First things first. My name is Chaitanya, and with the 3 syllables, it can get tricky sometimes. Phonetically, this is how it's pronounced, and the script at the bottom is how it's written in Hindi. Originally from the bustling city of Mumbai in India, I have been in the San Francisco Bay Area for the past 19 years. Within that, it's been a fortunate, exciting journey with 13 years of industry experience across various large and small organizations, including my initial days at Pentagram as a graphic designer, then on to Yahoo for 7 years, and most recently as the Director of Design for Acquisition and Growth at Netflix. I have also been passionate about design education, inclusion and equality, and I have continued to spend time with organizations like Interact Project, Design Lab, where I teach and mentor on design, and Whitespace Crew, where I created product design curriculum for folks transitioning careers. I'm often asked the question, should I pursue a career in growth design? What are the required skill set or the mindset? And in preparing for this talk, I connected the dots back, reflecting upon my own career, starting at Yahoo right up to Netflix. And it looks like I have been cultivating an aptitude or a mindset for growth for almost 10 years now. Of the many roles I had at Yahoo during my 7 years as a product designer, one of them was to develop and lead an in-house product marketing design initiative. This was born out of necessity. The necessity to better serve our customers in terms of the products we were creating as part of Yahoo Search. How can we better communicate the value of the Yahoo Search products was the question we had to ask. I was able to collaborate closely with the product design team, the marketing team, the customer content strategy, the brand team, and developers so as to bring in-house the experiences that were created and the experiences that were received by our customers in a more collaborative, cohesive way. Fast forward, my role at Scribd, which was head of design, included building the product as well as growing the customer base. Scribd is a digital reading subscription product across platforms, including web and mobile, and catered to around 1 million users at that time. My role involved leading a design team that was responsible for building the core features in the product across various content types, as well as solving for the churn problem, which was growing the user base. And I worked very closely with marketing. I was also responsible for brand design and qualitative research to help inform the customer motivation. And most recently, leading design, where we solved for up to 160 million subscribers for Netflix, a cross-platform initiative that not only included web and mobile, but also had TV. My role as design director for growth and acquisition at Netflix included these focus areas at the bottom right: audience growth, sign up, which was registration, email, pricing plans, payments and partnerships, and the new member experience, which you could also call onboarding. At this stage of my career, being more immersed in solving for growth problems, the horizontal landscape of my work was quite intricate. I worked closely with acquisition marketing as well as the messaging team that included email and push notifications. So as you can see, even without intentionally looking at a career in growth, from communicating the value of Yahoo Search to its end customers, right up to leading growth design at Netflix, solving for growth has been a journey. When we see the word growth, what all comes to mind with regards to businesses and products? From growth hacking, growth marketing, to growth engineering, growth teams have come a long way in being able to now focus on solving via product-led growth. And the definition that I would like to put forth, based on my years of experience as a designer and design leader in this space, is that simply put, growth is an outcome. Measurable impact, in addition to solving for customer motivation, is what will help us result in sustained growth. For those of us who love formulas or an equation, this is one way to look at how might we define growth. Another way to examine this definition is growth is about connecting you, my audience, with me, the product, the service, or the idea as I'm communicating. It is about the value, giving our customers reasons to believe in our product, service, or idea. And there are many channels to drive growth depending on the area of impact you're tackling within your business. We're all familiar with sales, brand, marketing, SEO or search engine optimization, and the significant role customer support plays in driving growth initiatives. Product-led growth employs strategies and tactics to optimize the generating value via the product funnel. So what do I mean by the product funnel? Let's look at Dave McClure's graph here, also popularly known as pirate metrics. Within product-led growth, there are various stages or milestones in the evolution of a product. It could be acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, or referral. Referral is applicable when a product has been in the market for a while, has loyal users, and can have a word of mouth or dominoes effect. What I find significant in this graph are the questions that we can ask both internally with our stakeholders and externally with our customers in order to better understand and align on the growth problem that the team needs to solve. How do users find you? Do users have a great first experience if the focus is on activation or onboarding? Do users come back if you're solving for churn and retention? Understanding the customer motivation and based on that, defining the measurable outcome we want to achieve as a team is what helps drive product-led growth. Let's go back a few years in time. 2009 is generally considered as a time at which growth started to emerge as a practice in the US. Growth teams were typically scrappy and agile. These initiatives typically included product marketing and engineering functions at its core. Growth hacking was ubiquitous. User experience design was not seen as a key player then. However, 10 years since then, today in 2019, design has a strategic role to play on growth teams. Here is a snapshot I took from the LinkedIn jobs results for opportunities that show up for individual contributor growth designers as well as leadership roles on growth teams like never before. And a point to note, more women are designing and leading growth design initiatives, geeking out on metrics and customer motivation. Whether the leadership role is a design director for growth, membership, expansion, today, design has a seat at the table. My question is, what are we going to do with this seat? let's look into the role human-centered design can play in being a core competency for your business as you grow it. Assuming many folks listening to this talk are Netflix subscribers and have most likely not logged out from the service for a while, this here is a snapshot of one of the earlier versions of the logged out homepage for Netflix that was viewable globally for subscribers. As you can see, the primary call to action here is watch us free for 30 days, the value proposition being free. Netflix has done a strategically amazing job in going global in 2014 across 190 countries while staying a single product, single code base, and a single team headquartered in California. However, times have evolved, and since 2014, the business, the landscape, the economy, the motivation for entertainment has evolved. And in order for Netflix to connect with the audiences in APAC regions, markets like Japan, Korea, and India, the question we had to ask is, does this value proposition and does this experience of the lockdown homepage give our customers reasons to believe in Netflix as the source of entertainment? Does it give them reasons to subscribe and be continued paying members of the service? When we think about growth, product-led growth, there is a difference in doing incremental changes versus truly moving the needle. As a growth team, there is immense value in iterating, shipping to learning from those failures. One could be iterating on a UI element like the call to action button as you see here, testing each change as an isolated variable. The variables could be the copy, the font size, the color of the button, the size of the button. While this growth hacking provides incremental wins, it does not solve for sustained growth. It does not give the customers in APAC the reasons to believe in Netflix as their source of entertainment. And so, we had to step back. We all love free trials. I would think most of us do. As part of a 7-week design and research-led initiative with my team of strong cross-functional experts, we went in market exploring conversations with our customers in Tokyo, and I'd like now for you to come with me and meet with Sumiko, our potential customer in Tokyo, who when she heard about the value proposition of free trial, asked, why free? Is it not that good? When will they charge me? We then brought the value proposition to Rohini in Mumbai, and her skepticism was, well, if it's free trial, then why my credit card is needed? We know that for some of the economies and cultures, providing their credit card or method of payment online is still not a comfort area. For Jose in Buenos Aires, watching free or paid was a non-issue. He knew he could share his account and continue watching what he loved. And back in the West, for Paul in Denver, the value proposition of free was quite clear, that he could watch free for 30 days, explore the product, and that he could cancel anytime. As I sat through this research and realized the motivation for each of these potential customers is different, and the measurable outcome to win their hearts and minds needs to be uniquely addressed, it became clear to me that in growing a subscription base, the solution is not about one size fitting all. We as a growth team needed to meet with our customers where they were. While the research did call out a lot of attention on the free value proposition, we also came away with a whole bunch of other areas for opportunity. This design and research-led initiative helped us reframe many of the problem statements and address the various customer points that were unique to that market. At a macro level, it helped inform what might be the APAC strategy for growth, even if the logged-in experience for the product would remain the same. and would be the same globally. More specifically, one of the outcomes from the user-centered approach to solving for growth resulted in the redesigned logged out homepage. The new hypothesis was that a long scrolling homepage with more information than less was relevant in certain markets. The work was accomplished by strong collaboration between research, design, data, product, content strategy, our localization team, and marketing. Specific explorations to clarify the value proposition around why free were also tested, including an amazing idea, which is to send an email reminder 3 days prior to charging our customer, which helped build a lot of trust in some of the markets in APAC. As I worked through this research project, this helped me better articulate the role human-centered approach to design can play in a cross-functional setting on a growth team. If product defines the what, it defines the target, the success metrics, the business goals. And engineering partners with us on defining the how, the feasibility of what needs to be built. Design is accountable for being the glue between the what and the how and asking the why. Design is uniquely positioned to address the customer motivation. Why would the customer want this? And of course, growth teams, depending on the scope of your project and the size of your organization or the timing of your product market fit, could have many other partners that help inform the work, from business analysts, qualitative research, data analytics, content strategy, QA, customer support. It's truly a horizontally set up cross-functional initiative. Having been through what is growth and the role of design in growth, I'd like to now move into sharing a few of the levers that I have learned along the way in building and growing growth teams. So let's dive in. The first lever I'd like to talk about is investing in the acumen for growth. You could consider the word acumen as the aptitude, the mindset. While the knowledge and the craftsmanship for any particular function, whether it's product design or engineering, is critical, when it comes to solving growth problems, the aptitude or the acumen has high stakes. What do I mean by an acumen for growth? The first one is a team or an individual who has a systematic approach, where you can solve for growth problems by thinking like a businessman, acting like a scientist, using hypotheses, having various variables to test against, and documenting your learnings in a systematic way. The second one that is pretty obvious, even as a designer, is insatiable curiosity. The courage to ask questions both internally to your stakeholders, to better understand business goals, to better understand if these are the right metrics we should be measuring against, and externally, the curiosity about your customers, their cultural preferences, their lifestyles, who they are, where they come from. Curiosity to up-level your global EQ and IQ. The third is being data-informed, which is a slight nuance from being data-driven. I think of a data-informed as someone who's able to blend quant and qual insights to help inform decisions, be able to create frameworks to help make decisions rather than be driven by hacks. The fourth would be resiliency. The resiliency to learn, because as we know, solving growth problems is an iterative practice. It is the ability to not only cherish when we have winning tests, but also to learn from failures. Especially for visual designers and growth teams, this can be challenging because we are trained to solve for holistic vision and end-to-end experiences. But how might we take those North Star vision ideas and systematically set them up in a way that we can launch those ideas through iterative testing. The next is highly collaborative. As I shared previously, growth leadership and growth teams have a charter that touches various parts of an organization and/or a product. Last but not the least, one that is very close to my heart is the ability to make ethical decisions. In the pursuit for hitting the bottom line and in creating high impact, high revenue growth solutions, a team can easily lose sight of what might be dark patterns or poor user experiences. Investing in the acumen for growth is a sum total of a few of these 6 attributes. The second lever I would like to talk about is the structure for growth teams. I'm often asked, how should I start a growth team? I barely have enough for building the product, and we do need to kick off some of these experiments that we've been thinking about. What I've come to realize is the structure of a growth team is most effective when it is designed around the areas of impact. What are the key areas of growth that the product or the service wants to solve for? Showing here examples for how this was solved by Pinterest and Netflix at different moments in time. For Pinterest, activation, unauthenticated experiences, emails and notifications were the key vertical areas where they created cross-functional pods. And then the data analysts were a horizontal team that were catering to each of these areas. For Netflix, the key areas where we believed we could create impact was audience growth, which focused on finding familiar and unfamiliar audiences with the Netflix service. Sign up, which was optimizing everything from getting your email and registration information to introducing the various pricing plans to you. Payments and partnerships is an area where deals or bundles were created with third-party vendors and exploring various methods of payments depending on geographical limitations. And last but not the least, the new member experience, a very significant area in the growth product-led funnel, onboarding. The customer either is completely convinced in your value proposition and is willing to be a paid member or not. So as you can see, the structure for these growth teams were defined by the mission or the area of impact considered most significant at that time. It's important for these teams to not be considered as permanent structures and to be nimble and adaptable depending on what the next growth initiative needs to be. Another aspect of designing growth teams is that they are typically most effective when they are cross-functionally set up. At the very base, a product manager, designer, and engineer. But how might this team come together on a vision or a North Star, a key hypothesis and core metrics in a way that they are highly aligned, yet loosely coupled in how they go about with their experiments? The how can be loosely coupled. The why and the what is where the alignment is critical. These teams are not necessarily organized by geographical proximity or features that they're designing, or even by channels or platforms. It's not a web team or a mobile team or a TV team. It's a team defined by the area of impact they want to cater to. The third lever, being able to trust the design process. While this seems very obvious for those of us who are from the design profession, I chose to call this out specifically when solving for growth problems because it's upon the design leader to build this trust with non-design stakeholders, the cross-functional members on a growth team. I'm often asked the question on what is the difference between building a product versus growing a product, and is the process really different? The role of human-centered design when building the product includes designing across the entirety of the product. However, when design is solving to grow the product, the focus is on impact areas. Building the product requires defining the product value, which includes thinking of new features, optimizing existing features, and the growth team focuses on connecting this value that has been created to the customers of that product. Building the product requires shipping to launch. The team tends to focus on completion and perfection. Growing the product is about continuous shipping because we're shipping to learn. It could be scrappy, it could be learning from failures, and continuous iteration. And one that I have learned over time is if building the product is about the MVP or the minimally viable, growing the product is gotta be maximum lovable. With this, let's take a quick look at what do I mean by the user experience design process. Here's a quick snapshot of the various milestones or stages in a design process. By no means I expect a growth team or a designer to follow this to the T. This is just a blueprint of the various stages that can help a team align on the problem to be solved, come up with the hypotheses, use qualitative research to inform the problem, use research to validate the problem, build the solution, and then continue iterating and testing from there. Whether you are in a career from sales or marketing or business and want to solve for growth design, a strong user-centered approach as a foundation is significant. And with that, investing in the acumen or the aptitude for growth goes a long way. The last lever to share as a leader on growth design teams is the importance in evangelizing the work, the wins, and the learnings that your team does. Besides hiring talent, defining the various frameworks to solve growth problems is really critical in helping build the morale and clarify the purpose of the growth team. As we have seen now, solving for growth problems is not about the glamorous feature launches and can oftentimes feel intangible. Growth design does, however, hit the company's bottom line. It's the revenue and the subscriber base. And these wins and these learnings from growth experiments help inform what the product can build. Few of the artifacts that I have explored in my time as a leader on growth teams is one of which is a simple mission statement for the growth experience team based on the roadmap or the key initiatives for that. Here is a snapshot of the mission statement we came up with for the Netflix growth design team for the year 2018-19. Another design artifact that has been very helpful in order to communicate to non-design stakeholders the roadmap for growth based on our objectives and key results could be a customer journey drawn up as a storyboard. This helps call out the gaps in the perceived value of the product or service, and it also helps to address the way in which the team is going to approach this problem with a certain vision or a North Star in mind. Each of these blocks here could be a growth experiment or a specific hypothesis, but they all tie into the value proposition we're going to be offering Rohini so that she can see more reasons to believe in Netflix as her choice for entertainment. With this, I'd like to recap the levers for sustained growth. The first being investing in the acumen for growth, structuring teams by areas of impact, trusting the design process, and evangelizing the work, wins, and learnings for your growth team. And as we take a look at the future trends that are shaping our businesses and their growth, it is a complex future, and it demands more connected experiences for our customers. Whether you look at hyper-personalization, artificial intelligence, digital transformations with machine learning, autonomous experiences, and multi-cloud computing, the demands for connected experiences with our customers is going to be critical. And I believe connecting the value of our product with the customers, growth teams will need to co-create business value with the end user. And in this situation, human-centered design is uniquely positioned to be a core competency for businesses. I would like to end with an invitation to each of you via this question. What is the purpose of doing any business? It is a quote by Sadhguru, one of India's 50 most influential people, a yogi, a mystic, an author. And as you question what is the purpose of doing any business, there is only one business in the world, and that is of human well-being. All other businesses are subsidiaries of this core intent. And while metrics can help measure the bottom line, the revenue, and the subscriber base, it is human well-being that is a key motivation for all of us to strive for. Thank you all for taking the time to be with me as I've shared my learnings on levers for sustained growth as a design leader. And a huge thank you to Fari and Growth Mentors community for this amazing opportunity. Let's continue the conversation. You can find me on Twitter at Tanadeo and the growthdesigners.co Slack community where I co-facilitate. Thank you.